What's up, everybody? Marcus here with Daily Adaptation, and I'm doing HIIT training this week. So the first thing I need to do for today is get my warm-up in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm on a Peloton bike here, by the way. So I've got my camera facing the screen. You can see the heart rate up in the corner. For me, it's my top left corner. I'm not sure if it's reversed in the camera. It might be, so it's either going to be your top left or top right. So you can see my heart rate. I've got a polar heart rate monitor strapped to the chest, which is going to pick it up from there. With intervals, you don't really want to rely on a wrist watch or something that's taken from the radial pulse. It's going to be a lot more accurate if it's taken with a heart rate strap. So that's what I'm using today. Anyways, I'm going to be warming up here for about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to be doing 8 rounds of intervals, 30 seconds on, 90 seconds off. It's a really generous interval cadence. It's a 1-to-3 ratio. Not very difficult at all, but what it allows me to do is it allows me a place to progress from. And what does that mean? It means that if I start off with like a 1-to-1 ratio, say I'm working out for 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, there's not really a lot of places to progress to. And then I have to make it incredibly difficult in order to progress. Whereas if I start off here and I can really push myself for those 30 seconds every 90 seconds, I have a place to progress to. Like next week I'll be doing it 30 seconds on, 60 seconds off, and then the week after that I'll go 30-30, and then I'll go down from there, or make it a little bit harder, a little bit longer. It all depends. You can mess with it, but the point is I have wiggle room, right? I have something I can progress into rather than just completely setting myself up to fail or to hit a plateau. Right? So in this 30 seconds that I'm on, I'm going to really be pushing myself as hard as possible in order to achieve the highest heart rate that I can. And then with that 90 seconds off, I'm going to just keep pedaling, keep it nice and smooth, get that heart rate to come back down. All right, so I'm going to increase resistance here just a little bit. You can see that right over here is going to be my resistance. This is my output, and this is my cadence right over here. And again, heart rate up in the corner. So about a 5-minute warm up, just to kind of get the blood pumping, get a little bit going. And then we'll be 30 seconds on, 90 seconds off, 8 rounds, followed by a 5-minute cool down, followed by core work. So today with the core, we're going to be doing rectus abdominals. And rectus abdominals are that top layer of the core. You can achieve that by doing sit-ups, leg raises, hanging leg raises, all different types of crunch variations. So I'll be going through 6 different exercises that I'm going to repeat in a loop until fatigue, and then I'll do it again, and I'll do it for a 3rd time to fatigue as well. So about 3 rounds, 6 exercises should take me about 9 to 15 minutes, depending on what my strength is that day. And again, these are all my baseline versions of core training and HIIT training. I just happen to cycle those 2 together for this week because they seem to fit really nicely one after the other. All right, so I've got about 2 minutes left to warm up. I got to bring my heart rate up a little bit higher. Been talking too much. So my breathing on this is going to sound really loud and erratic, and if it is too crazy, I'll edit the video, I'll do whatever I need to do. But essentially what I want to try to do is I want to try to take big deep inhales through my nose and sharp exhales through my mouth as I'm working through the interval. And I'm trying to do that because, again, it's a little bit more functional to breathe through your nose. There's better access to your lungs, and I'm able to kind of regulate the temperature as well because it's passing through several different layers before it reaches my lungs. It's also doing another fun thing too, where I obviously can't take a big deep inhale through my nose as well as I can through my mouth. So it's teaching me to kind of deal with the amount of oxygen that's coming in and adapt to that situation. So I'm coming up here on my 5-minute mark. So that means my interval is going to be coming. I'm probably going to crank my resistance to at least 50. And I'm going to try to hit a cadence of at least 100 for that time that I'm in the interval. So again, resistance is going to go to 50 for me. My cadence is going to probably go to 100. What does this mean for you? If you're on a bike or you're running or you're doing something else, all you have to do is just work at your maximum output for that time period. So if you're on an elliptical, just go a little faster or add resistance. If you're running, go into that sprint. If you're doing boxing, go ahead and hit that bag a little harder for that time period. So here we go. Coming up on my first interval for 30 seconds here. In 2, 1, resistance comes up, cadence comes up. I'm going to decide if I need more after this first interval. Three, 2, 1, and bring it down. Not too bad. Heart rate got up to 132. Not nearly as high as it's gonna go. So 50 resistance was okay for me. I'm probably gonna bring it up to 55 since I was definitely getting above 80 cadence. Now I'm gonna be resting for the full 90 seconds, which is gonna put me at 7 minutes is when I go next. And you should be breathing hard on these ones. Talking and doing this definitely is a lot harder than just doing it. Again, when we're doing HIIT training, we are pushing ourselves pretty deep into fatigue each time. Your body's ability to recover, you can see my heart rate has dropped quite a bit. It wasn't very high to begin with, but it's dropped about 15 points. Your ability to recover off of those highs is what shows, you know, how cardiovascular fit you are. So the faster you can recover off those highs, the better. All right, 15 seconds until my second push. I'm gonna crank it up to 55 this time. Again, this is kind of an easy 1-to-3 ratio. All right, here we go. Two, 1, and bringing that back down. Nice and easy pace. Going again at 9 minutes. So during your rest, obviously try to get your breathing under control. Again, I'm taking inhales through my nose, out through my mouth. Trying to relax as much as possible. Looks like I've dropped about 20 points, but it seems to be hovering around 118. You know, it's been a while since I've done cardio like this, probably about 6 weeks. So it's to be expected that I'm not gonna drop down too fast. But that being said, you know, it'll come back pretty quickly. All right, here we go for our third set. Coming up in 3, 2, 1. Increase that speed, increase that resistance. One or the other, or both. 2, 1, and letting it drop back down. Nice long inhales through the nose, Sharp exhale through the mouth. Going at 11. 45 more seconds. And what you should find is that your heart rate does drop in between, but as you keep going, you're gonna notice it starts to stabilize at certain points. If you're really cardiovascularly fit, or you're not pushing yourself as hard on the interval as you should, it will drop down further and continue to go low. But if you're really pushing yourself on those intervals, you'll find that it does balance itself out somewhere. And right now mine's balancing around 128. All right, moving into the fourth interval, coming up here in 8 seconds. Ready to increase your resistance or speed or both in 3, 2, 1, and here we go. 30 seconds, pushing as hard and as fast as you possibly can. Three, 2, 1, and recover. All right, halfway through, 4 more to go. Simple, easy, right? Going at 13-minute mark, 90 seconds to rest, 30 seconds on. The goal and objective each time is to put yourself in the deepest state of fatigue as you can, and then we try to recover in that 90-second time period, which again, this is a baseline version, pretty easy. One unit on, 3 units off, pretty easy. Although if you take a look at my heart rate, 138 is what I'm averaging out now at my rest. And that's not the greatest. It should be a little bit lower, but again, it's been about 6 weeks since I've done any cardio. So jumping in back into my 4-week routine, you're gonna experience that the first few times. I used to plummet all the way back down to 90 every time. But again, cardio fades pretty quickly when you don't do it for a while. 10 seconds. In 10 seconds, you're gonna either increase the speed, increase the resistance, or both. 3, 2, 1, and go. Moving into our 5th interval. Again, I'm trying to keep my watts, my cadence above 100. My resistance at 55 on the Peloton. Go with your perceived exertion. Right now, I'm about a 7 out of 10 on my perceived exertion. 3, 2, 1, and recover. Whew. Nice and easy. Whatever you do during your recovery, keep moving, don't stop. Go nice and smooth. Keep the blood flowing, keep breathing. Next one I'm gonna go at is 15. Again, 90 seconds in right now for the rest. It looks like my heart rate's stabilizing around 130. It's dropping a little bit. It's starting to remember, but it's still holding up there pretty high for me. That's okay. First day back, right? Well, I'm happy everyone's coming on this journey with me. It'll definitely be fun once you get into about week 3 of doing this. You see big changes. Okay, coming up on the next interval in 5 seconds. So get ready to increase speed or cadence or both, or resistance or both. 2, 1, and here we go. 30 seconds together. Let's go. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. 4, 3, 2, and time. Let it go. Bring down that speed. Bring down that resistance. Relax. 90 seconds rest. I like to sit back when I rest, especially if you can. Like if I was boxing right now, I'd be doing like a real simple combination on the bag. But because I'm on the bike, just sitting back. Got my resistance at 34 right now, which is 20 points lower, 21 points lower than my speed. My cadence is down. My output is way down. And I'm just trying to keep moving and keep relaxing. Got 30 seconds until we go again. I believe this is our 6th interval. Don't worry about how many you got. I got you timed for the maximum here. We're doing 8 total. I'll make sure that you know that you're there when you're there. All right, in 15 seconds, we're gonna go into our next interval. I believe it's our 6th. Get ready to increase resistance or speed or both. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and here we go. 30 seconds on. Ten seconds. 4, 3, 2, and time. Let it go. Nice and smooth. Get control of that breathing. Going at 19 minutes now. Next one is at 19. So my heart rate's slowly rising. Nowhere near my maximum. Again, you can see on the chart, I'm 82% of max. Eventually you want to get it up there as high as you can. But again, when we first begin our interval training, getting it up there may be challenging, especially if you're fit. If you find yourself hitting those marks pretty easily, cool, you got a place to progress from. If you're a little bit more seasoned, it's gonna be higher to hit those harder heart rates. So you gotta really shorten your intervals. But like I said, this is day 1 out of a 12-month training cycle. So don't be too hard on yourself just yet. Give yourself some room to progress, some wiggle room. If you go right into the hardest stuff, you have nowhere to progress to. So I always recommend starting off slow, take your time, feel it out, find your rhythm, and then progress from there. It's just a simpler way to do it, and it's a more logical way. Okay, here we go. Moving into our next interval in 10 seconds, increase speed or resistance or both. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and we're going. Five, 4, 3, 2, and let it go. Whew. That was a hard one for me. Going at 21 minutes now, 90 seconds to rest. So be our last interval coming up. One more to go. One more time to push that heart rate up as high as you can. You can see my heart rate's staying much higher now as I move through these. Nothing's changed. I'm just getting a little bit more fatigued. And when you first begin an interval training program, this is what you want. You want to be able to get yourself into a position where you feel uncomfortable and then back down from that position to something that's manageable and then go again. Slowly pushing your heart rate up higher and higher. Use your rate of perceived exertion scale. How hard do you feel like you're working? 1 to 10. If you feel like you're working a 7 while you're resting, we need to bring that to resistance, or we need to lengthen the rest time here. You should be at like a 4 or 3 while you're resting. Okay, here we go, people. 10 seconds, increase your speed or resistance or both. 8th and final interval, and then we're on a 5-minute cool down. 3, 2, 1, and here we go. Last effort. Ten seconds. 4, 3, 2, and let it go. Woo! All right. That's simple, right? Easy. Looks like I'm topping out at 159. Ooh, 160. Eventually, every single interval will bring you up into that percentage of your max range. You know, hitting that 90% of your max heart rate, definitely the zone you want to be in. And as long as we touch that ceiling in the beginning, at least once or twice, that's a success, that's a win. So now what I'm looking for in this 5-minute cool down is I'm looking for my heart rate to balance back out. I'm looking for it to get back in the double digits range in this time period. That should be incredibly possible for me. That being said, you might not be in the same position where it comes down as fast, or it might stay up for a long time. That's okay. But eventually it does start to come down. And the vice versa, you know, you might be way more cardiovascular inclined of an individual, and this might have been super easy for you. And that's great if it is. What I would recommend you do is that you skip ahead to some of my other stuff and you take a look at some of the harder intervals that you can do, and that will definitely push you. It doesn't matter who you are. You could be an Olympic cyclist or any type of athlete at a high level, and again, it's you against you. If I put you on the bike and you're super strong, I might have to push you at 65% resistance and maintain 100 cadence or more, right? Which was stronger than what I was doing, but you will get to that fatigue point in time. And then it's just a matter of messing with your ratios. 1 to 3, 1 to 2, a 1 to 1, or even a Tabata ratio where it's 2 to 1, where you're working for 30 seconds, but you're only resting for half that, 15 seconds. And that would be the ultimate version of these intervals that you eventually get down to. But in the beginning, take it nice and smooth, establish your breathing habits, establish, you know, how your body feels. It's not great to just jump straight into it because you don't want to leave the session puking and being destroyed for the rest of the day. Personally, I'm going to come out of this session feeling more energetic, feeling like I got a good workout in, but not so exhausted I can't continue to work with 5 or 6 more clients today. It's never really a problem, and you want to get to that point where that's, you know, there and available for you. You don't want to be the rest of the day just down for the count. So again, it's a progression. It takes time. Be comfortable with the amount of time it takes you. Everyone's different. We all have to start somewhere, and I'll tell you from experience, it's better to start at the bottom than to overestimate your abilities and try to start at the top. Even if you once were an athlete or whatever it was that you would think that you can do better or do more, look at it from a functional standpoint of progression. If you start at the very top, you have nowhere to progress to. There's no other level above that. And if there is a level above that, it could be something that's stressing out your heart to where you have an issue. Like many young athletes find themselves, many people find themselves in these issues with their hearts not doing so well during extreme exercise because they push too hard too fast. They don't give their body a chance to kind of recover and to get used to the stimulus. They just go right into it. So definitely start from the bottom, and this is a good place to start from the bottom. If you need to take it a step further down, instead of doing a 1 to 3 interval, you can even try a 1 to 4, doing 30 seconds on with 2 minutes off. And if that 30 seconds on is what's maxing you out, play with that time period too, but adjust your work, your rest intervals to compensate. And so what I mean by that is, let's say 30 seconds is too much. Start with 15 seconds of something high intensity and work at that 3-to-1 ratio. So it'd be 15 seconds on, 45 seconds off. So you're not nearly having to push as hard into fatigue, and you still get the same rest interval that will eventually push your heart rate higher and higher, and the resistance and how hard you have to work doesn't have to go up too high. There's lots of ways to kind of tweak the system a little bit in order to achieve what you want. Now, I think something's interesting happening here with my heart rate. Because I'm talking the whole time, I think it's actually staying up higher than it normally does. But it is what it is. The most important thing is that it has dropped down considerably from 160, where my max was, which was about 85%, to what it's saying is I'm about 65% of my max heart rate, about 120, 121. I'm sure if I slowed down even further and stopped talking, I would get down to those double digits. But just the fact that I've actually dropped down is what's important for your cool down. You never want to get off a piece of cardio equipment or finish a run while your heart rate is still really high. We want that to come down so that you're able to successfully move to your next exercise without feeling dizzy or feeling like you're in a rush, or even in worse examples, get blood pooling, where you keep blood in your legs or your lower body and the rest of your body doesn't have it, so it gets this massive surge that is really difficult on your veins and arteries to get a big massive blood surge. But anyways, so we're getting towards the end here of this cardio interval, and I'm going to immediately transition from this right into my core. So as I'm setting up the camera for the core, I'm not going to do any edits. You're just going to come with me. I'm not going to turn it off and go back to being on. We're going to transition into core, so get your mat ready to go. It'll give you time to set up, and that's where we're going to transition into. And slowing down my legs. Here we go. Okay, so heart rate looked like it get down to about 114, which is great. So the workout here, the metrics, 28 minutes. Total output in kilojoules was 187. Resistance average was 35. Cadence average was 84. That's because I was going slow. 7 miles and 268 calories for that time period. Now, whether that's super accurate or not, who really cares? It's a metric. It's not a bad calorie count for that amount of time, but I can tell you what will happen is we're going to get a decent EPOC score out of this. And with that EPOC score, I can guarantee you that I'm going to be burning more calories throughout the day. I'm going to be burning more calories throughout the day now, just because I did push myself a little bit harder with that interval. So that's going to be the gift that keeps giving. So let's go ahead and get the core going. Let me give you a lateral view. These are super, super, super simple core exercises. So, if you need something more advanced, check out some of my other stuff. But for the most part, all you need is a mat here. You need your body weight, make sure you're comfortable. Each exercise is gonna be about 30 seconds long, and we're gonna aim for 3-minute rounds, 3 of them at least, with about 60 seconds in between each one. So let's go ahead and start. We got the full sit up first, and here we go. So I inhale on the way down, I exhale on the way up. I try not to use too much momentum as I come up or down. rounding my back as I come down in order to support my spine. Get ready to go into leg lifts. You can sit on top of your hands at your side of your head. Just make sure that your lower back is flat. Here we go. Leg lifts, up and down. Position where you can see me a little bit better. So you can sit on top of your hands. You can put your hands at your side, or you can put them back and behind your head. I went from easiest to hardest. Biggest determining factor here is your lower back stays flat to the ground and it does not arch up. 10 seconds. And knees are up, hands behind the head, and we're gonna go crunches. Let all the air out of your lungs. Hold that crunch until all the air is out. Inhale back down. Support the back of the head with your hands, but don't pull against it. Your head's just meant to kind of cradle and fall into it. All the air out of the lungs for a stronger contraction. All right, let's go into hip presses or leg ups. Here we go. Bring those legs up, drive the hips up. You don't need to go big. Oh, it's been a while. 10 seconds. And time. All right. Half jackknives. Arms out behind you, legs are out straight. Lift up, touch up is opposite arm to opposite knee or foot, your call. Yeah, like I said, it's been about 6 weeks since I've done this routine. It's definitely showing. When I'm on my natural 4-week progression, it's never an issue, but I'm definitely feeling it today. All right, last one, leg kicks. Sit on top of the hands at your side behind your head, 30 seconds. Keeping your lower back flat to the ground is crucial here. So sitting on top of the hands helps to wedge your lower back to the floor. Hands at your side obviously takes that away, makes it a lot harder. So pick whatever one you want to make it through this 3-minute round. In 2, 1, and time. Okay, so we're resting here. We're gonna rest about 60 seconds total, and then we're gonna go into the next one. So crunches and sit-ups and leg raises and all this stuff, it's great, it's fine. It does help build the abdominals, the rectus abdominals, but it is not the most functional approach to core training. This is very aesthetic training for this particular type. Check out some of my other videos if you're looking for more of a functional approach to core training. Functional and mostly adding rotation, things that are a little bit more sports specific or just life specific. Most things we do are in the transverse plane where we rotate and move, even something as simple as getting your groceries from your car or picking up your kid with one arm and turning, right? This is a very sagittal plane movement, so not a lot of function in it, but it gets the job done on building those rectus abdominals at the six-pack kind of for show later. All right, 60 seconds is up. We're gonna repeat the cycle, so we're gonna go right into the full sit-ups first. Here we go, 30 seconds, should be a little bit harder this time, and go. And if you need to modify this movement, simply take your arms and swing them on the way up, but on the way down, try not to do any swing and come down slowly. 3, 2, 1. Let's go right into our leg raises and go for it. So like I said, I'm already feeling this. So I'm gonna take the degression and sit on top of my hands. I know, I get it. It's been a while, but you gotta start from somewhere. My back's starting to arch a little bit, so I'm gonna go ahead and degress it. And again, think about it as a place to progress from. Because if I didn't take those modifications, what might happen is I might strain something, 2, 1, and time. Let's go knees up crunches. I might strain something and that might put me out for a while. Exhale all the air out. Inhale down. And time. All right, let's go right into our half jackknife, or sorry, hip presses, and go for it. Oh, they're killing me. I'm gonna do some mini ones with some momentum. Taking that degression. 3, 2, 1. Let's go right into a half jackknife. So take those degressions when you need them. So I'm taking a degression here and I'm touching the elbow or the hand to the knee. Man, I'm feeling this today. And time. Last one, leg kicks. And here we go. I always try to breathe in through the nose. And I always try to breathe out through the mouth. You may notice my knees are slightly bent. It's probably from 6 weeks of deadlifts. And my hamstrings just being a little inflexible because what I just did with the bike as well. And time. All right. So that is 2 rounds through, and we've got 1 more round for the rectus abdominal training. So again, you know, even if it's been a while since you've done core training and you used to just be an absolute stud at it, it's not that big of a deal to come back. You know, this used to be a nothing routine for me, obviously. Now it is, obviously. It just takes time to build back. You know, it's been a solid 6 weeks since I've done anything with core. Being focused on a different modality of exercise, gaining a little bit of muscle, will take away some of these smaller movements, and getting back to them, as long as you have a history of training, should be very easy. But if you've got something where you're starting from base 1, this can be very challenging, and you're building up your level of resistance to this type of stimulus. So if you're not able to make it through the full 3 minutes, which could be happening, be comfortable just pausing and resting when you can. And then when you can get back into it, just jump right back into it. Even if I've moved on to a different exercise, just jump back into it at that pace. Check out some of my other videos if the pace is too much. There's different levels of core training. Here we go. 3rd and final time. Same movements, and we're rolling. Here we go. Full sit up. Five seconds. 2, 1, and leg raises. Both legs, same time. Sit on top of the hands at your side behind your head. Inhale down, exhale up. Biggest thing is keeping that lower back flat to the ground when you do this. The legs can bend as much as you need to. That's fine. The longer the lever, the longer the legs are out straight, the harder the exercise. legs being bent, easier exercise. Pick whichever one you want. Final 4, 3, 2, and time. All right, here we go. Crunches, knees are up. You can cross your ankles or keep them flat, and go for it. Exhale all the way out of the lungs. Inhale back down. Crunch your chest up towards the ceiling and not towards your knees. You may not make it as high off the floor as you'd like, but you're gonna get a better contraction through the abdominals. 10 seconds. So all those hip presses are coming up. And time. All right, here we go. Hip presses. 3, 2, 1, and go. Sit on top of the hands at the side or behind the head. Use a little bit of momentum if you'd like. Even little ones like this. Totally fine. Still getting a strong contraction through the abdominals. Whatever you do, don't bring these back and behind your head like that. It's straight up that we want. Right about there. All right, here we go, half jackknife. And go. Again, a degression on this one would be to swing your arms to come up and then rotate and touch, and then come back down. A progression would be to reach up, touch opposite arm, to opposite foot. You can see the level of fatigue I'm at right now. A little tough for my ego, but that's okay. I think the more you can abolish your ego, the better. Especially when it comes to your health. Okay, last one, leg kicks, and go. We were all way stronger in our 20s, right? And now that we're getting a little bit older, that physical prowess is starting to leave. That's okay. What your focus should be on is how do you move into the future successfully with as much health and longevity intact as possible. That's my goal. And honestly, I'm not trying to tell you what you should be doing, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it. That's time right there. It should be your goal too. Moving into the future where I know I'm going to be able to enjoy my success, enjoy everything I've worked towards, hopefully have a little bit in savings, enjoy a little bit of money and freedom in the future, but I wanna be healthy when I do it. I see so many people who work themselves to death day in, day out, compromising their health for wealth. And it does not play out very well when they go to retire, because what happens is that person goes to retire at age whatever, 50s and 60s, and their body is gone. And they are relying on doctors in order to keep them together. And that is not a very good game to play. You want to be preventative. You don't want to be reactive with your health. So taking the long road, putting in the work each day, finding what your adaptation is, what is the best type of environment to elicit a certain adaptation for your health and wellness. And that's what I'm hoping to give, and that's what I'm hoping to achieve with my training. And I say hoping, but I know that's what I'm doing. I have many, many clients that are well into their 60s now that have been working with me for 12, 15 years, and they're doing awesome. They're killing it. You go to a trip to India for a month and all you're doing is hiking around all day and on your feet, and you're in your 60s and they're crushing it. So, anyways, okay, that's enough babble for me. I'm Marcus with Daily Adaptation. This has been my this has been my HIIT training with the bike today with the Rectus abdominal training. I hope you all enjoyed this. I know it's a little bit of a difficult format. I'm new to YouTube, so I'm just trying to check it out. But I'm gonna film every one of my workouts in its entirety, uncut, and go from there. All right, everybody, I'll see you next time. Stay on track.